But they'll describe by themselves with their job,
Yeah. They
maybe a
just
hobby.
they book themselves into like these little groups that they can like fit into, and
Yeah.
they become less of like a person. The signs on college game day,
They're
they're
just not the vibe
they're not
anymore.
the same.
I
There's
think probably, I mean, we've kind of talked about this, but people will just go look up something creative, like a sign idea, instead of,
like most of the stuff is just all repeated and not,
yeah.
super special. There's a
You
I,
get a good one every now and again, though.
I think just almost everything that you see just lacks a little creativity.
Yeah.
It's so common. Like,
But I would also say, and I was reading the Jason Derulo book, he kind of talks about this, but right now I think creators are almost valued more, though, which is kind of interesting. New ideas, because they can catch a wave so much faster, and but then you obviously, because it can get, one creative idea can get super big, then you see it like reproduced 8 bajillion times.
yeah,
So you can be creative, but just expect people to steal it, I guess.
yeah, that's you know, we were gonna kind of talk about just addictions and stuff, and like I'm on Twitter quite a bit. I don't have like crazy.
Can we have a flashback moment real quick?
Yeah.
Do you remember when you deleted Twitter from your phone?
Yeah. See, I can delete it, but
But then where did you get on it? The computer.
on my computer.
So you just
Well,
did by
it
your
just kind of
computer?
works out. I mean, but the amount of like, I don't know the good term, but like I'm gonna call it like wagon hopping or jumping on the bandwagon of different stuff. So like on your creativity thing, like one person will tweet out like one thing, then you have 500 tweets all about it, and
Yeah.
then so like people joke on the Twitter like in it, like I'm very heavy into fantasy football, so like when there's like a player like, oh, it's Patrick Mahomes day because one person in the morning tweeted like, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is very good, so then now every single person has to see that tweet, and then they tweet about it, and it creates this cycle that's just super goofy, and it's
Do
like,
you think part of that's also caused because there's a place where people can hold opinions, people feel like
they
can
have to
they
have an
have to have
opinion.
an
Yeah.
opinion?
It's
Or do you
also
think people actually have honest to goodness opinions about everything? Because I know personally there are some things that people are like, you have to have an opinion. And I genuinely don't. I do not have an opinion. I really don't give a heck
two craps.
to about it.
Well,
So,
I think just like the way that like content is like circulated, and then what X pays out for is just views. So if you're not tweeting about what's trending, you're not going
you're
to
not
earn. Yeah.
maximizing your
And
potential profit.
like there's just so much.
But we had talked about this even when well, I didn't watch it, and I don't think you. But about some of the clips from the Republican debate or whatever, about how there was a few of them that didn't seem to hold their own strong opinions, but kind of were the bandwagon jumpers of what's cool
Yeah, it's
to
they'll do
believe.
or say anything to get one extra vote, and that's probably like one of the biggest issues with that just I see it that just make Congress people like just
But
unlikable.
I think that goes to the general public too, because people want to fit in with a group and believe to fit into this group, I have to hold all these same opinions to my core. I can't be 50% in on that opinion. I've got to be 100% committed to whatever value identify that group as having.
And there's a lot of like social pressure too of doing it because I know
You
like
get canceled.
yeah, because like on like right wing Twitter, it's like oh like all these like people they're pretending to be like more liberal men, so like women will date them because it's like overwhelmingly like the percents of like college women look for like a more liberal man, so they kind of hide
Yeah.
their stances, and then it just creates issues.
That's just such an interesting take for people to have. And I don't know if social media promotes people to not hold their own opinions as much, or what do you think is the cause for people lacking? Is it because you can get canceled, you can get more hate
I think so.
because
Everything is just available. I know. And then back when we were in school, there was all those like social media trends where you like posted on like Twitter, you posted on Instagram, and
and you would get hate if you didn't
yeah, like
yeah.
one like most people were just posting just to do it, but then if you didn't do it, people would be like, "Oh,
Why didn't you
you're
post?
not a supporter." Like it's like no, it's just I don't post on social media a
Well, and
ton.
it's okay, yeah, you can make a post so you did the thing, but what are you actually doing? I mean, there's no action backing some people's words sometimes. Like, oh, I can just say whatever the heck I want so people will like me. But when it comes to what I'm doing, it really doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of the social media like philanthropists that like they're like filming themselves and like just putting a camera in front of like a homeless person.
Look
Like,
at all the good I'm
oh, I gave
doing.
this guy food. Just real stuff. And it always comes like when the camera's not rolling, like they're just not a great person.
Yeah. And so I guess my take always on that stuff was first, instead of just posting about it, what's something actionable that I could do first to at least put some, I don't know if integrity is the right word, but I just feel like there has to be some sort of value behind what I post. But I mean, it's hard because human nature is to fit in and you want to be liked. So it is hard when you know that there's a potential for getting some instant backlash for choosing to do one thing first before doing another.
Yeah. Or even just like if you say like, oh, I actually don't agree with this kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
it could be something as simple as
But that actually brings something you've talked a lot about in the past is when you meet someone and the question of what do you do? And how people always ask. It's just these, oh, I don't know what type of language that is. Shoot. But they'll describe by themselves with their job.
yeah.
Maybe
they
a
just
hobby.
they book themselves into like these little groups that they can like fit into, and they become less of like a person like, oh, I'm in finance, I like to play golf and drink IPAs, like
Yeah.
the most generic.
Here are the things that I am. But I don't think labeling yourself like that, people are too complex to just stick 3 labels on them and be, okay, I know exactly who you are because you've got, okay, you're a liberal, you're an accountant, and you're,
You like to watch The Office.
yeah. Like, okay.
That was always my favorite. Like, I've watched The Office 7 times.
Where I don't think that tells you anything actually about a person, but yeah, you might be able to find those easy connection points. Oh, you like The Office? I like The Office. What's your favorite episode? And maybe it's just because I hate small talk, and that's why I am more resentful towards those types of conversations. Is to me, it low key feels like a waste of time. It's not. It's good relationship building. You should know if someone likes The Office, I guess. But you really don't know a person. So, what the question I was going to ask you with that is, what do you think would be a better way for people to get to know someone when they're first meeting a person?
Oh, first meeting somebody. I always like when you're first meeting someone, like you should be adaptable. Like I don't like you. Have you ever done like what's it called? Like the like acting routine with like no plan. Gosh,
Oh
why can't I
gosh,
think of the
I
name?
just forgot the name. Josh does it though.
Huh?
Improv.
Yeah, there we go. I was thinking it started with an A. I don't.
I was thinking P, and I
Uh,
was like, I know there's a P in
oh,
it, but I was just thinking personification. I was like,
oh.
where am I getting that word? Okay, anywho.
But just being like that, like so open, you can almost like roll with anything, and
Uh
just
huh.
like, you know, the number one rule in improv because we did improv in um
High school? No.
this was like middle school or whatever,
Oh,
but
okay.
we had to practice because it was for our like destination imagination things or whatever.
Destination
Yeah,
imagination.
this was our
Sounds
nerd
fun.
class. Um, but the idea is like you never shut anything down because that just like kills the whole thing. So if someone's just like,
Interesting.
I really like to go fishing,
Hmm.
which is like really interesting. This is like completely off topic, but like I've been friends with this dude for like 15, 16 years at this point, and I found out last week he really likes fish. Like he has like a ton of pet fish in a fish tank. Just never knew that. Yeah.
The
I
more
don't
you
think
know,
you don't meet that many people our age, maybe younger, that are like really passionate about fish.
like pet fish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. More like maybe sushi, but not.
Yeah, sushi. But just, back on topic, like being open or just even being able to like put down like that first layer of like defenses for you, like for you maybe being like, oh yeah, I really like to do makeup.
Yeah. So something and you know this about me, but I get very anxious meeting people.
Yeah, dude, definitely.
And I've always tried to figure out, well, what's the pattern to meeting people? Like what's the words I'm supposed to say so I don't have to think of them because that makes me nervous because I don't know this person and because I don't love small talk, I think I get too almost personal or too introspective too fast. And I'm self-conscious about that. So then in turn I just get nervous and don't want to talk. So for a person like me who wants to know, well, what's a question that's good where I don't, because me asking someone what they do for a living, I don't care what they do for a living. I don't think they should care what I do for a living. It's what pays my bills. And there's some people out there that their job does matter a lot to them. But what would be the question you would ask to get to know someone in a deeper way, but you've obviously just met the person? What's your question?
My favorite question, and I think we talked about this several months ago, but just what do you like to do for fun? And that, like, to me opens up, like, they're not immediately thinking, like, I create financial models in Excel for like 9 hours a day kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's my job. Um, but like, oh, when they get off work, they go play golf, go fishing, go hunting, or,
So
you
what's
know,
your answer to your own question?
oh man. Right now, really enjoying playing golf, but I like playing video games with my friends. Um, cooking, definitely trying new stuff. But then I spend like a lot of my free time doing statistics and like working on my computer. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I guess like to me is like I do that for work too.
Mhm.
So like sometimes I get kind of burnt out
Mhm.
constantly being on the computer. Like I know last week I was just like I just don't want to like look at like a TV or a
Yeah.
screen. And you get like that more than me because
Yes.
like you know maybe have an addiction to some phone stuff. Like always just active, engaged. I have an app that sends notifications of people that send tweets, but I'll also follow the people that send the tweets. So then you get like the notification, like Adam Schefter tweeted, Joe Burrow signed a new contract, but then you'll get a notification from the app that says like Joe Burrow signed a new contract. So then you have two notifications about the same thing.
So you're a little extra.
Yeah, very extra.
But do you think that question gets people talking about what they're passionate about, and that's a good way to lead them into deeper conversation?
Yeah, and
To
you
know
can
them.
definitely you get like a full circle of someone and not just like the fake like we've gone to happy hours and stuff during the work and there'll be like work parties
So,
and the work party it's just like it's the saddest thing ever just people standing there holding their drink and
yeah. But I think people don't want to know, they all know what they do for a living and they don't want to show that other side of them. So, what do you do when you ask someone a question, hey, what do you do for fun? And they tell you, I don't know. I think a lot of people that are in their career or busy would tell you that they don't have time for fun. So how would you probe passion out of someone? Like get them to show you that they actually care about something in life besides their busyness.
that's really tough. That kind of goes back to just like shutting down the conversation thing.
Mhm.
um but you can go and you can ask like kind of like, oh hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, my favorite answer of nothing.
Yeah.
uh
I just think a lot of people are scared of those first conversations and it leads them to give very simple responses where what are you supposed to do with that? Like, where am I supposed to go in this conversation? Nothing? Oh, that sounds really exciting.
it's
You know what? And then this is, I feel like, how it usually goes. I'm doing nothing as well. What does that mean? I don't know. I guess we're both just sitting staring at the wall for the next 48 hours. I hope you enjoy your staring at the wall session.
and there's that like stigma like people like don't want to, but then some of like the best people are the ones that are like super open.
Yeah.
um like, oh, like my daughter has a dance recital and then we're gonna go get ice cream at this one store because
Yeah.
like we love their like caramel crunch kind of stuff, like where they'll share like every little detail.
Yeah.
And like I always really enjoy that because
So, why do you think some people have the tendency to not share detail? Because I think it's probably, I I probably tend to be one where because I'm nervous in the first conversation or think people don't actually care, so why would I want to share something if I'm going to get waved off, I guess.
that would be kind of my thing is like you just don't think it's important
Yeah.
or like no one even cares.
Yeah. So how can you go about showing someone that you actually do care? Like I do want to hear what your response is, and I think showing them that you're fully present in that moment is key to getting them comfortable to talking to you.
I think like some people will like give a little and
Mhm.
like take a little like so like if you start more open like they can definitely like pick up like your guard down,
Uh-huh.
then they'll be more willing to share as well.
Yeah.
And it'd be easier to create connections. So like when like you're going in and just being like, oh yeah, I have two dogs.
Just so you know. But I think something you're really good at is when you're meeting someone for the first time, you are very present and want to know, have a genuine interest about the person. And I think part of that is also you're not, you don't have a strict time schedule because you let life go as it may. And I think when it comes to meeting someone, if you're rushed and just waving them off, just asking the questions you're supposed to so you can get on with your day,
You just want to leave, you know?
people can sense that. And I noticed when you talk to someone, you're not on that schedule.
Yeah, I do. I have a loose schedule. But
Yeah.
you're kind of different. You're kind of like, this
I've
is
been
my
told by
schedule.
multiple people, like, you're always rushing. And I, like, yes. Yeah, I need to work on that.
My schedule can be very adaptable.
But I think that allows for you to, it gives people a opportunity to let their guard down, where, because people don't want to inconvenience others, and you showing people that, oh, I'm here just to talk to you, this is what I want my whole day to be about. And although you sometimes have some honoring things to say afterwards, you don't let that come across to while you're talking to someone, and you always remember their name. But I think that's because you're so present in the conversation. You're literally just listening and not having a panic attack about what you're gonna say.
Yeah. I don't feel like it stresses me out. I know you get a little stressed out, but I feel like I've gotten worse on the whole naming things, or keeping people's names.
Yeah, why is that?
Just have not been focusing on it as hard.
Have you met a ton of new people recently?
Not actually.
So what names are you not remembering?
Just people. Losing my touch.
What people? You haven't met anyone. What are the people? Your best friends? Those are the people you talk to.
So, I mean, you asked me what my question or my answer would be for, like, what do you do for fun? What would you tell people, and how do you think you could improve upon it? Well,
That's
maybe it doesn't need
interesting
improvement. I mean,
because I think I would get nervous and not really want to answer. So I usually do something where it's more of something that's super simple. I like to work out and I walk my dogs, which I think is a very narrow view of what I like to do.
yeah. I mean, on one hand, we do walk our dogs a ton.
Yes.
They get a lot of exercise.
But a lot of the things I will mention are things I feel obligated to do and not things I'm like truly passionate about.
Yeah.
I can't talk about running for forever. I like to run. Yes. But I'm not one of those people that you can get me talking for hours and hours and hours about running. I run because it's good for me.
Oh, the runner's high, how good you feel.
No, I'll be honest. After the marathon, I thought, wow, that was hard. And maybe I'll do it again, and maybe I just will never do that again. And I feel good after I run, but it's not whatever runner high people talk about. And I've ran quite a bit. I mean, I've got quite a few miles under my belt.
Yeah, you do. You have a million pairs of shoes.
So, I mean, there are some days where I feel good. I'm like, wow, I went fast today. A lot faster than I usually do. Like today,
Yeah.
I did 30-second intervals. And Holly and I's last interval, I did a 5:30 pace.
Wow.
I know. I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, I'm so fast.
That is quick.
Now I only did that for 30 seconds. But still, I thought to myself, wow, I'm fast. Anywho, I think the things I'm actually passionate about, I'm scared to talk about because I don't feel
like people will like be interested.
That, and I also don't feel like as if I'm an expert in it enough to be passionate about it. I'm not the best in it, so why can I can't talk about it because I can't say it's something I love if I'm not the expert.
See, I think that's like a mindset thing. I definitely struggle with it too, because like you want to be good at something that you care about. So
Yeah.
if you're not the best, then it's like, well, like I really like playing chess. Um, but I'm not good. Now, statistically, I'm beating over 50% of people, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But like you get like these people that are experts, like they're way better. They know way more.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that comes from just a fear of if someone asks you a question
That
and
you're
you don't
not
know the
gonna
answer
know.
to, then you almost feel like a fraud, you know? Like going back to how this conversation started, shoot, I shared an opinion and something I cared about and I didn't know this about it. Like, oh my gosh, what a freaking I don't even know. I don't even care about it apparently. And I don't think that's the right train of thought, but I do get stuck in that.
So, you've always told me this of just like it doesn't cuz I like things to be just as well as they can be, like no mistakes,
Mhm.
because like to me, like, oh, if like you point out a mistake, like, oh, it's not good enough, you don't like it, like, you're
Mhm.
worthless.
Mhm.
um but so like to me, like I don't do things because like I want it to be perfect, but like if they're just good, people will like them. Like if
Mhm.
I'm happy with it, other people will probably be happy with it because I
Yeah.
think you're your own biggest critic.
Yeah.
So if you like apply that same logic, you know, you shouldn't be scared to tell people like what you really like to do. But it's not. It's like, oh my gosh, like what if they're just an absolute expert at this, or
Yeah. And then
then I am
I'm
a clown.
yeah, pretty much. It's really interesting. But and something I think I do is I'll make up the conversation in my head. So then I panic when it doesn't go that sort of way. Or I just assume this person's going to be an expert, so I'm scared to even mention it because in my mind their response to my answer to the question of what I'm passionate about would be extremely negative, and so I'm just like, oh, just don't go there. Do something easy. I walk my dogs.
I know I think that's like with social anxiety, like some people like they have to sit in their car and they will plan out their conversation with even just like going to like a coffee shop
Mm-hmm.
of like I want a vanilla
Latte.
ice latte with oat milk. Um,
There's these TikToks,
oh boy.
or they'll just be, it's just like a little improv, we'll say, but they'll pretend to call the doctor. They're like, okay, hi, my name is Shannon Cody. I would like to schedule an appointment. Hi, my name is Shannon Cody. I'd like to schedule an appointment. Hi, what would you like? I have no idea. Like stuff like that, and I think they're funny because I can relate
That's great.
because I do plan out. Like I usually don't. I want to call back instead of usually answer. I've gotten better. I have because I've realized it's kind of inconvenient to miss the call on purpose and then to call back. It's kind of inconvenient. So I've been working on
On
that, on
answering the
just
phone call.
answering the phone call, but it is nerve wracking for me.
I know, like, I think I've seen those videos, but like my like favorite TikTok video is the people at the airport security line with the like the audio of like some dude just yelling at them like take off your shoes kind of stuff. Because
The panic.
yeah, yeah, I know the Atlanta airport is pretty bad about it, and there's so many people
Or they
rushing
can
through.
just scream at you and you're,
Yeah,
I didn't mean to mess up. But it's funny because if you put it into perspective, they really can't do anything to you. They can yell at you and make you feel like you're a terrible person for taking so long to take off your shoes. But at the end of the day, they're just going to eventually get to you.
yeah.
So, yes, you may be holding up the line. Yes, you may get yelled at. But, I mean,
But yeah, I think just like being able to like put your guard down and be more open with people is just creates such a better environment.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, you don't have to follow every trend.
It's okay to have opinions that are different from
Yeah,
those.
like,
And you can be friends with people that have different opinions than you.
yeah, I've seen that so much of people just like, I just
Can't be friends with people that
don't share this view or different stuff. And
So here's
like,
your friendly reminder to love people and be friends with people from no matter what. It's okay. You don't have to put people into a box because people like to cancel people. We do not need more cancel culture.
yeah.
Preach. Anywho, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode, and make sure to tune back next week for the next one.